Well, welcome everybody to the board meeting for the TGAA, December 4th at 2:30. I'll call the meeting to order at 2:34 p.m. and we'll start with a invocation. So if you all join me. Lord, we just thank you for this opportunity to participate in government. And we just thank you for this time of year. And just declare your peace and your joy over this Christmas season for all of us and for all the municipalities and counties and school districts we're talking with and trying to help. And we just thank you, Lord, for all that you do for us and have done and will do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Okay.
All right, I'll do roll call. If you just by voice, when I call your name, so Kathy Wheat,
Here.
Scott Sanford,
Here.
Anthony Wilder here, Art Martinez Devara.
Here.
All right, so everybody's here. So we have a quorum. We'll move forward. All right, agenda item 4, the minutes. Are there any discussion, any changes, any concerns, questions about the minutes that from the last meeting?
Nope.
Scott, anything
No.
or Art, anything? Okay. All right. Well, if that's the case, I'll take a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the meetings from August.
Second.
All right, we have a motion from Kathy, a second from Scott. All those in favor of approving the minutes from the August 27 meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those in opposed, say nay. All right, the ayes have it 3-0. All right, item number 5. Let me read this and then I'll stop the recording. TGA board will convene an executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.071 for private consultation with the general counsel to seek legal advice with respect to pending and contemplated litigation and including all matters on this agenda to which the general counsel has a duty under the Texas Rules of Discipline and Professional Conduct regarding confidential communication with the board. And the two things to be discussed are the arbitration case number 012500008663 and cause number C250202212CV, City of Odessa versus TGAA. So I'll pause the recording now and then we'll start the executive session. Okay, well, we'll now reconvene in regular session. We'll come out of executive session at 2:54 p.m. Moving on to item 6, there is no action to take, so item 6 is moot. We don't need to do anything from the executive session. All right, moving to item 7. So 7 is the proposed changes to the transparency and ethics policy across the 3 types, so counties, municipalities, and school districts. So Kathy and Scott, do y'all want me to go through the changes, not grammatical changes and all that, but the other ones and talk about them one at a time? How would y'all like to proceed?
Yeah, I think that'd be good.
Okay, I'll jump down to that part. So we're looking at Schedule B, and B, C, D, E, F, and G. Okay. Okay, so this one is the county, and each of them have a lot of the same changes. As you'll know, there are a few differences between the 3 that existed before this meeting, so they'll still stay in place. But for the most part, the changes are across the board. I've put today's date, so if we approve it, it'll be the new version. This first one is about the efficiency audit, and this is a change across all 3 of the types, county, school district, and city. We want to do a rolling 5-year period. And this I know we talked about this in the last board meeting, but just as a reminder, this is how it worked when I was in Carrollton on city council. We did a rolling 5-year period. One of the entities that's close to joining, who has asked us and given us feedback for some of these changes, they are doing a 3 to 5-year period that they're rolling through as well. And it just seems it's easier for the budget. Because if you do an efficiency audit once every 3 years, which is what we've had in there, it can get quite expensive, we found out. The other is this that we put in at the very bottom. The efficiency audit's not required if that governmental body, being the commissioner's court, school district board, or the city council, adopts a tax rate that's at or below the no new revenue rate for the current or previous fiscal year. So it also gives them a carrot. And the reason we did that is because one of the entities we're talking to has been below actually, two of them have been below no new revenue rate for a period of time. And you're like, Anthony, we're cutting all kinds of stuff. Do we really need this requirement to have an efficiency audit if we're already, slicing and dicing? And so that's why we put that in, because it's kind of a carrot to do that. Because honestly, I'd prefer they be below no new revenue rate, because that's going to force more efficiency. So pause there. Questions about that or concerns?
No, I think that's okay.
Okay, Scott, any? Okay.
No,
Moving on. This one is the audit. We did make some changes. So in our last meeting, we talked about this one for a little while about because we've had this three, no firm can do it in 3 years or in a row or 6 years in a 10-year period. So we're scratching that and we're putting in this new language. And what I've done here is I went through almost all of the top 20 cities in Texas, plus a few others, from the area that I pulled in, I wanted to look at. And most of them are doing a 3-year contract initially with the auditing firm with the potential for 2 years to extend it. So, it gets to 5 eventually. But in year 4 and 5, they have to approve that extension. And then you have others who are doing just a straight 5, or somewhere around that, and then others who do, something less. So I was trying to hit the middle point there, but also be cognizant of what you had shared, Scott, about their standards within the industry, the audit team, in the firm, that industry for them, and trying to be cognizant of that and the commitment it takes from them, the ramp up period, at what point do they become efficient? So that's how I eventually landed at 4 years as a middle ground for all of it. And that would include the renewals. So for a city that, they do a 3-year up front and then a 1-year extension, so that would hit their 4. So they'd only be able to do one extension instead of 2. But the other thing is that we allow them to continue with that firm if they end up being the best firm as you go through the procurement process and new RFPs. So that's what this sentence is about. So it no longer requires them to switch firms, but it does require them to go back to the open market to find the best firm, and gives them that opportunity then, to pick another firm if they want. So what are y'all's thoughts on that?
I like it.
Scott, do you feel like it considers that the feedback you have given?
Very much so, but it's really pretty lenient at 4 years. So absolutely it does.
Yeah. Kathy, thoughts on?
Yeah, I wanted to understand the process a little more, just because the legalese is difficult for me. So thank you for explaining it. And I like the fact that they can continue with a firm they're comfortable with, they like using, as long as they still go through an open procurement process. I think that's appropriate.
Yeah. So it does step back for us, because I did like, making them change firms, but I get it. It's hard. In some cases, like Kingsbury, because we have to keep that in mind too. They probably aren't going to be able to find someone else because this one group is willing to do it for a low price, and so that's, this allows them to continue that approach. Okay, moving on. I'll skip over any of the clerical and grammatical stuff. Okay, vendor searchability. This is the database that we require for the members to have on their website that shows all of the vendors and payments over a period of time. We've cleaned this up because there were questions about, well, when does the database start? At what point do we do it? And so we cleaned that up at this initial part to say that you go 24 months before the ILA forward. And you get that last 2 years of data, make it available, and then from that point forward, just keep adding data to it. And so it was a way to clarify, because that was a question of some of the prospects. They wanted more clarity there. The other thing was we clarified in this sentence, you can see a bunch of changes here. We were trying to clarify what the records of the database were supposed to have in it because it was too vague. So that's what this is here, is to clarify it. It's basically, it takes it down to the payment level. So just put a record out there for every payment to these vendors. And then it's up to the individual. If they want to go review this, they can then aggregate the payments and figure out how much a vendor got. But the whole goal was just to get some data out there. Because then you can do what you want with it once you get it from that website. You can aggregate it if you choose to. So this was all to clean that up, and just provide more clarity to the prospects that we've been talking to. So any questions about those changes?
No, those seem clear.
Okay. All right, it was clerical change or grammatical, county. Oh, here, on the payments, reminder, we're in conflicts of interest. On the payments, it was pointed out that uh, written contracts is not always how it works, especially in the county. One county that we're talking to was like, it's based on policy. We don't have these contracts between an individual and the entity in regards to payments of this nature. So that's what this change is about. It's just to capture that's more of how it actually works. Okay, moving on. Here, this was hard for me. Probably the hardest change. So we're in part 4, which is during the Commissioners Court, City Council, or School Board meeting. So it's an open meeting. And this was that requirement that there was a vote necessary to go into executive session. A lot of prospects have said no to this. There are a couple that are very close. They'll probably join soon, but they told us they will not even consider it, won't even put it on the agenda if we don't get rid of this term. So I'm proposing that we get rid of this term and go back to C without this part 2. And part 2 was the one, where they had to do a vote before they go into executive session. Thoughts on that? I know, Scott, you had an opinion last meeting about it. So.
Yeah, that's if that's the way it's got to go,
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard, but a lot of prospects over the last 18 months have used this as one of the main reasons not to join or even consider it across the full body. Kathy, thoughts?
No, I don't have any particular thoughts on that right now.
Okay, so the proposal is just to strike that out of there, and it's just the rest of it's pretty similar to Toma at that point. All right, building permits, it was just a clarification here. One of the prospects was like, where do you want me to put this? We're like, on the website, but it wasn't mentioned. So I was just clarifying that it's on the website. County body appearances, we cleaned this up. The language was hard. We went through several changes with one of the vendors. I'm sorry, not vendors, one of the prospects. And eventually landed on this because we thought it was more straightforward. It still takes advantage of the definitions for each of these, which is further down in the document, but it just cleans it up to be easier to read and understand. Basically, if you have any payments across these different affiliations of yourself with your family or some organization in the city, then you need to disclose it. And to also mentioning that it's on a public comment form because we had missed that. So this is just clarity. Any thoughts or questions? There's really no material change.
No.
Okay. Moving on, we're in the ethics section now. Here, for the county, we had to clean it up. It's been enjoyable talking with this one particular county that's considering joining. They've shared a lot with me that I didn't know about counties and how they're run. And so one of the things is that the county body is a very, very large term. And so we're trying to refine these two to restrict the scope or reduce the scope a little bit. So that's why it says commissioners courts now instead of county body, because county body includes lots. I think they have 37 departments in this one county. And then you have all these different boards that they appoint people to, including like a hospital district, all kinds of things like that. So that's why we're doing this restriction here. This change, if I recall, is not in the school or the school district or the municipal one. It's just a change for the county level because it's so large. Any questions about that? Okay.
No.
Next one, we had to make a few changes to gifts. It was pointed out to us that it was not the scope of it of what we have here for the limits did not include a few things. Also, there was a change. So there's a form with the Texas Ethics Commission, and they changed it from 200 to $540. So where you see the number changes, it's because of that. They raised the values. Here, this one is just gifts from these different levels that are already reported. So in that same form that I'm referencing, the TEC code form, it has in there that you have to uh, uh, report all those things already. And so that's what these individuals do. So that's why this was added. This, of course, the dollar change. This one was to make sure that we captured that there's moments where these elected officials, they receive things. Like there's some who receive tickets to a game, like for example, a Cowboys game, and they go to the Cowboys game representing their entity, and then at halftime they introduce them to the crowd. Everybody cheers for them, or whatever, or boos them maybe. I don't know. So, but they're there on an official capacity, and it's usually it has to do with something like they're working with some charitable organization, something like that. So that's what this new section is about. And then this one was to clean up and put more clarity around attendance at events for hospitality functions. So any questions about those?
No.
Okay. Here, outside employment, we made a change here. Uh, Several prospects are like, anything we can't do all of this, and we definitely can't get it on the website in 72 hours. So we pared it down. The biggest thing that we wanted to maintain, and that they've agreed with these different prospects, if we move forward, is about lobbying. So it still has lobbyist activity here, and the reporting of it. We've changed it to 15 days because these entities are like, we can't turn it around as quick as you're asking us to. So we've extended this to 15 days for this type of reporting, which is fine because right now we're not getting anything or very little. You'll typically get it a long time in arrears. I saw in one city they had the last one they had was from I think 2023 for some lobby activities they had hired someone for. So the 15 days I felt was much better than that and gave them more time than 72 hours. So that's what we've done here is changed it. It's focused on lobbying, and this is across all three unit types. So any questions there, concerns, thoughts? Okay. The next one, we're striking six. Some of the prospects pointed out like, why are y'all even touching this? What's the point? Where there's these other things that you are going after that we agree with and we want to do, but it was just too much scope. They were like, there's no way we can police these people within with as y'all know, we're all three of us are former elected officials, and I mean they'd have to be policing us for all these years, and I know they don't because I'm only in the city I've served in anymore. And anyhow, it's just too much scope. So we agreed, like, you know what, we'll just get rid of part six completely of the ethics portion of the policy. So any questions there?
No.
Okay. Going into definitions, we changed the definition. And this is for all of them. So would it be county official, city official, school district official? All three of these definitions have the same change, and we're trying to hone in on those who have responsibilities and have oversight, and make those decisions about policies and procedures and that nature. So we ended up landing on this after going back and forth with a couple of the prospects. So that's why this changes here, and the clarity cleanup as well, just to make it more readable. So any questions there?
No.
Elected official for the county, we had it incorrect, so we had to fix that. So that's what you're seeing here is the addition of a couple different spots, and it turns out county auditor We're not sure if it's across all counties, but those that we're talking to said that's an appointed position. It's not an elected official. So that's why this one's been struck. Going down, this is due to the change, the TEC form changed. So this is the new limit for it, or the new dollar amount for it. So that was a change there. And in the local government affiliate, we changed this for clarity. I went back and forth with one of the prospects and just came to a conclusion like, you know what, we need to put an and here and clean this up a little because we weren't even sure how would you apply this. And because that question was there, we're just like, okay, let's clean it up. Because how am I going to enforce it if we're not really showing clarity? So that's what this one was about. And that's all. Let me jump down. This is just a version of what it looks like without any change with the changes approved. This one, what are we looking at here? This one is the municipality one. Did a question, Scott?
Yeah, if you would go back to that last where it says 30% of that person's revenue.
Uh-huh. Let me go. Okay, right. I'm here. And keep in mind, persons defined here, which is the same way it's defined in state law. So it means, all these different entity types, plus individual.
Okay, and where is the, okay, in a K? I'll ask you a question offline about that.
Okay. The one thing to note here, since you're asking about it, and I don't know if this is where you're headed with it, for a county, this means that a hospital district would be included.
Okay, I'm thinking of policing. You mentioned policing being difficult. And if you have an individual that you're trying to police, you're going to have to know their total revenue.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
But
policing?
yeah, so here let me share it this way. So
Please.
person, this is a definition. It's in state law. We also are using the same definition
Right.
here. And person's referenced in various places. You will notice that in this definition, we tried to remove the individual compensation. So this would be like like in the city, the city manager or school board superintendent, people like that. Those are employees, but they do, 100% of their income comes from the entity, but they're excluded because that's considered compensation. I don't know if that helps to answer the question, but because mostly what this is going, a local government affiliate is going to be some other entity. Like for a county, it would be the hospital district. They appoint many of those members of that oversight board. They also give more than 30% to those entities. And so they would fall under this. And another, I'm trying to think at the city level. Some cities they give to boards they're not part of the city officially, so they have their own oversight boards, but they'll give to those, and in some cases they'll appoint to those, and it could be across a multi-city. Like 4 cities have decided some shared services, so it would impact them.
Okay. I see now the bigger context, talking about family relationships and et cetera. So I'm good.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'm going to go down to the municipality one just to show. So the municipality has the same changes here. One thing to note for municipalities, we removed from the efficiency audit, we removed the emergency services. Even when I served, we didn't do that. I wanted to, the rest of the council did not, and the mayor did not. Therefore, we never did it. There are prospects who have said, hey, we like all these changes, but you would need to include this. So you'll see in the city one, there is an alteration that the school district and the county don't have because they do have fire departments, police departments. Some of them they have different names, but it basically for those emergency services. And so they're being removed from this requirement of efficiency audits, which unfortunately, that's the way it is in municipal government, from my time when I served.
Anthony, do you know if an emergency services district falls under the scope of a county, or is it a separate?
That would be a different entity that we would talk to become a member.
Okay.
That's my understanding. An ESD is not. Now the county commissioners court, they're the ones who declare that a vote can be done and go through all that, you know,
Yeah.
Prior
Yeah, and
stuff. But once the voters vote for it, it's its own entity. Is that right, Art?
correct. Yeah, it's a special district under state law, and not every ESD has appointed commissioners. There's some that are elected, so they come in different forms. But they're a
Okay.
special district, just like a hospital district or school district.
But
Okay.
they're outside of a county though, Scott. So they're
Okay.
like the new ones that just got created here in Collin County, they wouldn't fall under, let's say that Collin County wanted to become a member, the ESDs would not be a member.
Got it.
They're not even
Got it.
part of this. Um,
Thank you.
Okay. Let's see this is the same as what we saw in the other one. That's all the same. Same. I'm just trying to point out any differences. I think that might be the only difference. Gifts are the same. We left all this out. Lobbyists still the same. Yeah, that's the only change between those two. Let me go down to the school district one just to see, because I can't recall if there was anything else. Okay, school district. No, this one's like the county one. So they don't have emergency services, so that's, not carved out of this. Let's see, that's the same as the other ones, same. That's all the same. Same changes. Yeah, they don't have, I'm not seeing anything different. Oh, I did some clerical. There were some spots where we had typos. We had city instead of school district. So you'll see a few spots where that was a fix of the typo. Okay, and the gifts are the same as the other two. This is the same as the other two. And this is the same as the other two. Although you'll see each one of them it's like this one says campus department or agency because some school districts, each campus has their own like down principal down, kind of like it's kind of treated like a department. So things like that's why we mentioned it this way. So that was a little bit different than the others, but it's just trying to define that individual that has that control and oversight at the campus level. See school district, yeah, I'm not sure why it did this. There's no change here. This is supposed to be the same. Oh, I know what it was. I had to fix the formatting. There was a formatting error with this particular term. That's why it's in red. But there's no change to this. You can see they're identical. And so the definition itself didn't change. Okay, so that's everything across all three of them. Any other questions or concerns about it?
Oh,
Okay, well, I'll entertain a motion if there's no further discussion on it.
so moved.
All right, I'll second.
Okay, so just so I'm clear, so Scott, are you motioning to approve the change,
Yes.
the proposed changes across all three policies?
Yes.
Okay, and Kathy, you're agreeing?
That's my second. Yes.
Okay, all right. So we have a motion and a second to approve the proposed changes as they have been presented today and are in the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Okay, the ayes have it, 3-0. All right, thank you for going through that. Let me jump back to the top to see where we're at. Okay, so that was number 7. All right, the next one is the interlocal agreement changes. So I'll jump down to that part of the agenda. Okay, the interlocal agreement. There are various changes here, and it's similar to the policies. This is feedback I've received over time from various prospects. One prospect was extremely helpful. They went through this multiple times with me, which is very much appreciated. And so you'll see a few changes in here are just clarity, or to be consistent across the 4 documents that we've looked at so far. here, some of this, it's just clarity. If y'all want to talk about different ones, I can, but this was all clarity just to make it more readable and understandable. Jumping into, yeah, here was more clarity. It mentioned city. We're talking, I remember the ILA is across all unit types, so it's local government. So it was just a typo. Okay, the first big change we have is terminating the agreement. So what is currently in the agreement is this part, and it's not a part one, it's just that's how you can terminate. What we've chosen to do, and as y'all know, we've talked about this in various board meetings. A lot of prospects are like, nope, not going to do that. I'm not going to subject us to some kind of vote like this in the future. So what they wanted was an alternative. And so this is the alternative that we ironed out with some of the prospects. It's that you can do this. So you can still do one of the following. So I've got one of the following options. You can still do the one that's there, which is the referendum of the people. Or the second one is to walk through this process, which is where the governing body, they do a vote in open session. It has to have a 4/5 majority. So it's a little bit different than a supermajority or 2/3 majority or others that you've probably been more accustomed to in your time of service. And then you have a waiting period. We did 150 days. We had 180 at first, but we realized that would take them into a seventh month. And most of these prospects wanted a 6-month period. So that's why this is 150, because then they can have their next meeting in that 6th month. And in a sense, it ends up being 6 months from this meeting to this meeting. And then you have another meeting where in an open session of a regularly scheduled meeting, and you do the vote again. So they're declaring in part A that they want to terminate. The community then gets to talk about it. Of course, we get to come in and share like, hey, we don't want y'all to terminate. What's going on? Why do y'all want to leave? So it gives us all a chance to talk about it for 150 days. And then they have another one where they actually take the vote to terminate. So it gives them another option, which a lot of prospects asked for. And it keeps this one in place in case, a member does want to do this. So thoughts on that?
Seems good to me.
Yeah, I actually think that's a great second option.
Okay. Okay. And it's a little bit different. The one that I, had been pushing around for about a year now was the if then else approach, which was if they became a member due to a referendum, they have to leave via referendum. And if they came from a council vote or governing body vote, then they have to leave through governing body. So it's a little bit different. It gives them a little bit more than what I was offering to different members, and they didn't like that. So this is a compromise. All right. Another thing is we made some changes here because of this. So it's 6 months instead of a year. So you'll see some changes here. And then the dues, this was for clarity. This statement here was that you pay dues for 6 months, and then you can get a refund. So let's say they paid for a year, and at the 6-month mark they get out, then they get a pro rata of 6 months of dues, is what that statement is all about, or trying to capture. Okay, the next change. This paragraph is the one that talks about complaints that come in. As you'll know, on our website in the upper right-hand corner, you have one of those red buttons that you can click on and then send a complaint in for a member. The complaint can be they, didn't put the proposed budget out there, or whatever, somewhere where they're not compliant with the policy. So we cleaned this up because it was pointed out by a couple prospects, like, hey, this is confusing. Who does what? When does each step happen? So this has all been cleaned up to address and provide clarity. So any questions about that? It's just clarity. Okay. Down here, there's more of the same. We're still in the same paragraph. It's all about clarity for that process. All right, the next one, any essential obligations. This was just cleaning this up. This is legalese. We had some feedback that was more attorney focused. One of our prospects is an attorney by trade, and as aside from being an elected official. So he was like, hey, you got to clean up the wording of this paragraph. So that's where this came from. The changes in this paragraph was to clean that up. Let's see the next one, except for actions. This was clarity too, to clean this up. We also removed the Dallas County. Some of the members aren't in Dallas. Actually, a lot of the prospects I talked to are not in Dallas County. And so it was to move it out of the county, let it be somewhere else to handle the concerns that these others had, because they were like, we don't want to do Dallas County. We're not in Dallas County. And anyhow, so that we took that out for that reason. And then we got rid of this last sentence. We were like, you know what? We don't need it. There was also prospects who were like, just struck that because it just wasn't needed. Because we were constantly expanding this paragraph to try and include all these different things. And in the end, we didn't need to. Okay. And then the last part was here. We've changed this to provide clarity. A lot of the prospects were confused with the wording I came up with last time. So it was to clean it up to make it more readable to them. Okay. So and then this here is the 3% cap. One of the prospects wants a 3% cap. We are pushing back on them. That's what this is in blue. We, in a previous board meeting, probably I think last year in 2024, y'all gave me the approval to work through those things with prospects. So I'm not proposing that we do the thing in blue. That prospect has asked for it. I have the approval from the board already to do such things if I need to. But I just put it here so that y'all would be aware of it. We don't want to do that. We want to be subjected to some kind of inflation just in case it goes up a bunch. Then we're not limited to 3% because these entities aren't. We did some comparisons across some of these entities we're talking to point out to them, hey, you're way beyond 3% in your general fund and in your ACFR in general. So, okay. Any questions about any of that?
Well,
Okay. I'll entertain a motion for the ILA.
I'll make a motion to approve the changes to the ILA as presented,
Okay, excluding the part in blue.
excluding the part in blue. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Scott?
second.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second to approve changes as proposed, minus this portion in blue, which was just the discussion point. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Okay, the ayes have it 3-0. All right, moving down. I know we've got a hard stop, so let's do this. Okay, resolution. The Constitution has an attachment A, which is those fees. So we need this resolution to change the Constitution so that those schedules match, because it has the old schedule, which was different pricing per entity type and all that stuff, which we already got rid of. And I didn't discover that until, before this meeting, that we needed to change the Constitution. So I'm proposing that we do this resolution to adopt what we just approved for attachment A of ILA, which is also attachment A of the Constitution. Any questions about that?
No, it looks good.
Scott, any questions?
No,
concerns?
looks great.
Okay. All right, well, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve this board resolution.
Okay.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion and a second to approve this board resolution to change the Schedule A of the Constitution to match the Schedule A of the ILA. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed say nay. All right, the ayes have it 3-0. All right, and let me go. I think we're done, Scott. Let me make sure. Okay, so we've done the Constitution. Oh, the budget. Let's see, where was the budget? So just to update on the budget, there's no action to take. This was the budget I'd given y'all. I want to point out one thing. This budget was missing. I thought it was going to be the number through 8/31. It wasn't. We were missing a couple of weeks. So this 10/8 number was actually not 10/8. It was 10/667. So if you were to flow all this way through, it's at 55124. So just to point that out, it was off by $133. So we did get an infusion of contributions because of the legal fees that we've incurred the last couple months because of the Odessa case. So you'll see a large number came in. We're going to have to receive more before the end of this calendar year. But everything else about the same. Oh, we didn't have travel. I ended up not traveling for these prospects. A lot of it was done through Zoom calls, or some of the prospects were close. I just drove to them. So travel, we didn't incur anything. Website, we didn't incur anything. He's gonna have to make a few changes because of today's meeting, but so that's why some of these are zero. Any questions about the budget?
No.
And this is just information. There's no action to take. Okay. All right. Scott or Kathy, any announcements, anything you wanted to share that wasn't on the agenda?
No, sir.
All right. All right, I'll take that as all right. Well, now that we're at the end, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All
I'll
right.
second.
All right. So we have a motion and a second to adjourn the TGA board meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. All right. The ayes have it 3-0. All right. Thank you for doing this today.